Yeah, I can't.
Because I've been cut already. I like cards.
Nobody.
I can see his
Bummer. I know. We should.
Make sure I sign one anyway. I'll sign.
Pittman, has got something special. I think he's got. Welcome, guys, to the Gridiron Gurus, presented by Famisphere. My name's Keith. I'm joined by Jesse. And a lot of things happened last week. The biggest thing is the coaches and the coaching carousel kind of kicked off with a big thing, big time, however you want to say that. And then we're also going to talk a couple of the games that happened last week, Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama, Auburn. And then we're going to finish up talking about the title games that are going to come up this week in conference championships, which a lot of these will have major implications on the college football playoff, who gets in, who gets out, things of that nature. But first thing I want to talk about, and it's the big coach that got hired and it left everybody stunned, was Lincoln Riley going to USC from Oklahoma. The big thing about this is, and we talked about this on our show, was some of the jobs that were coming open and what we were looking for with who would fill those positions. And we always would say USC, but as we were saying that, I never really verbalized what I was thinking. That USC had made zero, treading water, stirring up, names coming up. It was very silent on USC's part, and I always thought that was very strange, even though, at the time, they was the only major program that was looking for a head coach. It was odd to me that nothing was said, and all of a sudden, boom, Lincoln Riley is out at Oklahoma after the loss to OK State. I mean, literally the next day. They played in Norman at OK State on Saturday night, and then Sunday morning, he is on a plane to USC.
Yep.
So,
very quick.
It's anybody that has been around this college football, kind of watched it and seen how coaches will leave, know that this was not a spur of the moment. He got a call from USC Saturday night, and then he is like, "Yeah, I'm coming." No, this has been in the works for a few weeks. And one of the funny things about this hire for me was he had told some reporters, because he had been linked to the LSU job, and somebody had asked him, "Are you going to be the next head coach at LSU?" And his response was, "No, I will not be the head coach at LSU."
Yeah.
He should have inserted USC instead of LSU.
Right.
Or the reporter should have asked, "Are you going to be a head coach somewhere else next year?" So.
Well, I think I actually said it on an episode of our show somewhere a way back where we're talking about some of the vacancies that were going to be open.
Right.
And I believe it could have been a different team, but I feel like it was USC that I was talking about when we were saying that it didn't seem like they really were very urgent about making a hire anytime soon. And I was like, well, we could end up seeing them hire after National Signing Day or close to National Signing Day.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure it was USC. And then, bam, out of nowhere, all of a sudden Lincoln Riley's going to USC. And you were talking about how there's no way that it was that spur of the moment. There had to be some premeditation to it. I actually saw an article, not sure how much truth there is to it, but supposedly Oklahoma had already known about it before the Baylor game.
So wow! So
back,
AD
back about 3 weeks. That was 3 weeks prior, 2 weeks prior. They knew about it back then,
right?
And it makes you wonder because Big Noon Kickoff, which has Bob Stoops, or formerly had Bob Stoops, they had sent out a tweet before the Oklahoma State the Bedlam game, and made a tweet about Bob Stoops not returning because he was pursuing other options through the rest of the season, and he ended up being he stepped in as the interim to finish the season after Oklahoma. So they knew, people in the circles, they knew beforehand. Makes you wonder how much of the players had already heard some speculation and how much they believed it. But I don't know. It took me by surprise because I've thought back and forth on whether it was a smart move or not a smart move. I think it was a genius move. At first, I thought, okay, like everybody else, Lincoln Riley's running from the SEC because either way, inevitably, you're going to be in the SEC. Whether it's at Oklahoma or it's at LSU, you're going to be in the SEC. And we talked long and hard about which one's the better move because you're in the same division, which is the better spot. Well, Lincoln Riley just took himself out of that and he's going to be the biggest name in the Pac-12. He's going to be the biggest name on the West Coast, period. And he's in a city where, football, or actually sports in general, are king. And if you can produce, you are the king.
Right.
So I think it was a huge move. I think it was a big decision. Smart move on USC's part. I think it was a smart move on Lincoln Riley's part. I think that they're going to compete nationally early, very early.
It's going to depend on how well he can recruit, but I think he can. And obviously
he's
a great
already
coach.
recruiting.
Oh, I know.
Oh gosh.
Well, and the thing about him moving or taking the job when he did was the first. I can't remember if the rule
We talked about this too.
was when you could start in-home visits from a head coach. You know when that was? Sunday.
Yeah.
His first day. So
Yeah.
he timed that perfectly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as far as a genius move, I think you're right. I feel like it's a dirty move.
I cannot remember the player's name, but Oklahoma has had a running back commit. I think it's a 5-star prospect. He's been committed. He's from California, right there near USC. He's been committed for months, and as soon as Lincoln Riley stepped foot in California, that's the first place he went to Sunday night was to that young man's house, and they posted a picture later on, I think it was on USC's social media, and the kid's wearing a USC shirt. He had already flipped the kid that fast. But I think he was very verbal in saying that he will go wherever Lincoln Riley's at.
Right. And I get that. I mean, you're committed to a coach. There was one thing I did. It was a tweet. It was a screenshot. One of the players at Oklahoma. I say former players because he is now a former player of Lincoln Riley.
Right.
But it was a quote that he had mentioned in his opening press conference talking about Lincoln Riley. It was like, this is going to be the mecca of college football, a great destination. Yeah. And the tweet was back from the player, and it said, yeah, you told us this last week. So I don't know how many of the players knew. I think it was pretty well kept under wraps because Oklahoma might have known we're looking for a head coach, but we don't want to sabotage the rest of our season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even if Lincoln Riley knew he was leaving.
Makes you wonder. But, I mean, his resume is pretty good. I mean, granted, Bob Stoops built that dynasty. But, I mean, a lot of people can be handed the keys to Ferrari, but not a lot of them can drive it,
That's a pretty good analogy.
So, I mean,
that's like me or you. If somebody handed us the keys to a Ferrari, chances are it's probably wrecked by the time we get out of the driveway.
Or even,
and
you could even flip that into another, example. A lot of people can be handed over a Fortune 500 company, but it may bankrupt.
Right. Right.
That's probably even a better analogy because, I mean, he has to run a program like a CEO would of a company.
Right.
And one thing I will say to Lincoln Riley's credit, though, is, Bob Stoops, he never was able to bring in as big a recruits as what Lincoln Riley had brought in when he was at Oklahoma. And so, I mean, he didn't recruit as well as I think Lincoln Riley has done in the past few years.
I think that especially early on in Bob Stoops' career at Oklahoma, he did a great job.
He did. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Bob Stoops. I mean, Bob Stoops, they call him Big Game Bob for a reason.
Right.
But I just think that he brought a little more life into the program. Right. And changed some things for the better.
Right.
So, but anyways, big props to Lincoln Riley, though. I think USC, something else too. I don't know. I'm just a lover of college football.
Right.
I mean, I'm a UT fan through and through, but I just love college football. And I don't agree with the man. I swear I never can agree with this dude. But I saw a clip of Colin Cowherd the other day talking about this job.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, whether you like like this team or that team, if you love college football, and I agree, I do agree, you have to agree that college football is better, whether you like them or not. College football is better when USC, Notre Dame, who was another team? I think Michigan.
Right.
Michigan. When those teams are good, college football is more exciting.
Right.
And he's right.
I'm not.
It is. How exciting was it watching Jim Harbaugh in Michigan beat Ohio State?
We're going to get into that one.
We are.
We're going to get into that
we
one.
are.
Because there's a soundbite that I've already got, pulled just in case you want to back out of it.
I said I will own it. I'm a man of my word.
But we'll get to that point. I think and final notes on this one is it's a great hire for USC.
It is.
It's a great position for Lincoln Riley.
It is.
The only part for me that is the downside is when if the water ever gets choppy in USC,
Oh yeah.
is the AD wondering when he's going to leave, whether it be for the NFL or for another Big Ten team that doesn't play in the SEC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or a Big 12 team or a Big 10 team. You know what I'm saying? That's where with a coach that does that to a top 10 rated team that just bolts.
Yeah.
If the waters ever get choppy for him, the AD has to be wondering when's he leaving? When is he backing out? And that's my final point on that one.
I think the big thing was money talks.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it was that contract.
Whew.
But
The check was fat. Anyway, moving on to Florida Florida was the first one to make a hire out of the ones on our list. They hired Billy Napier, and I think I know how you feel about this. For me, it's a lateral move from Mullen. I don't think that he was the best hire. I don't think he was the worst hire. They could have went a lot of different ways, but for me, they didn't upgrade the head coaching position.
no, definitely not an upgrade. I don't know. It's disrespectful to Billy Napier to say that he's a downgrade, but in the same sense, it's disrespectful to Dan Mullen to say that it's a lateral move with Billy Napier, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is if you go by resume, it is a downgrade. To me, because Dan Mullen was competing in the SEC West with Mississippi State.
Right.
He had Mississippi State ranked number 1 in the nation for a few weeks. Took him to I don't remember if it was New Year's Six Bowl at the time. It might have still been BCS. I can't remember. I think it was New Year's Six. It was, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I think it was a New Year's Six Bowl.
I believe so.
At that time. Either way, a January bowl. We'll say it like that. It was the Orange Bowl, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was BCS era or New Year's Six era.
I think it was the New Year's Six era, but it was not
I think it
one
was.
It wasn't a playoff appearance, but it was a New Year's Six bowl.
But yeah, it was a big bowl.
Right.
And anytime you go to the Orange Bowl, it's a big bowl. But anyways, Billy Napier's not done that. Billy Napier has had a great stint at Louisiana. He looks like a phenomenal coach.
Right.
But when you're playing teams, from the Sun Belt, it's not as exciting. It's not as impressive as when you're winning and you're going, 11-1, 10-2 against teams in the SEC West.
Right.
That's not as impressive. I
100% agree.
And I hope I'm wrong. I hope Billy Napier's a great coach. He seems to be a hard-nosed football coach.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he
agree.
doesn't come in trying to be another Nick Saban, because we see what that recipe is, a.k.a. Jeremy Pruitt.
Well, you talk about Pruitt. You talk about one of the other former assistants of Saban. I can't think of his name. Was Muschamp an assistant under Saban?
He was assistant.
And he had the same mentality that Pruitt did.
Yeah, he actually, honestly, Will Muschamp is probably a really good comparison to Billy Napier.
Right.
And I know Florida fans don't want to hear that, but he's a pretty good comparison.
Florida or South Carolina, right?
Yeah. But South Carolina says good riddance. They don't care. Honestly, they probably hope he's a Will Muschamp at Florida, because they want him to tank.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm eager to see how it goes, but I don't have a whole lot of chips.
I wouldn't put a whole lot of chips in that one either.
Yeah.
As a Tennessee fan, I kind of like the hire.
I know. I'm kind of hoping we kind of get gain some ground there. But again, it goes back to me I'm just a lover of college football. I'm a college football nerd. College football is more exciting when Florida's good. College football is more exciting when Florida and Florida State, those teams are good. Tennessee and Florida is more exciting when both teams are good. I think back to, if you remember, the worst Tennessee-Florida game I ever watched, I think, was 15. Was it 15?
Mm-hmm.
Muschamp was, I think, there at that. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it was 15. We lost 9-6 in a field goal shootout in Neyland Stadium.
Yeah.
The worst Tennessee-Florida game I think I've ever watched. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Both teams were competitive.
Right.
But we weren't good. We both sucked.
Right.
None of us were good.
I agree 100%. And it's the same thing with college basketball. College basketball is better excuse me, when your blue bloods are better.
Yes.
When they're good.
Yes.
When I'm talking about
More
college
exciting.
basketball. When UNC, when Kentucky, Kansas, UCLA,
UConn. Yeah.
right, all those teams are good. College basketball is better.
Yes.
Same thing with college football.
Exact same.
When USC, when Texas,
Yes.
when Florida, when Michigan, Ohio State, when those teams
Florida
are State, Clemson, and historically Clemson is on as a roller coaster. They'll be really good for a little bit, and then they'll be really bad. But Miami, when those teams are good,
Yeah.
college football is just a great thing to watch.
And Clemson fans don't want to hear it, but I don't consider them a blue blood.
I don't even.
My
I know-
buddy Tom
I-
would hate that, but they aren't a blue blood.
Right. Well, I throw Clemson in there because they have been on their high on their roller
Yeah.
coaster. But when those teams are good, college football is so much better.
Right.
And I don't know that this was a step to making Florida a blue blood.
I don't think that. I don't know.
Right. And like I said, I'm not. This is not a disrespect thing to Napier, and I thought that's not a downgrade for Florida, but it's not an upgrade. It's a lateral move for me, and that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to disrespect either Mullen or him. I'm just saying you didn't.
If they
You didn't hire Fickle. That's the
Right.
point. You didn't
Well,
hire Fickle.
If the headline to me was Lane Kiffin headed to Gainesville, you guys just upgraded.
You guys, a major,
Big upgrade.
major upgrade.
Um,
If you hire Brian Kelly, who's next on our list, you have an
Yeah.
upgrade.
yeah, I'd agree with that.
If you hired Mel Tucker, that's an upgrade.
That's an upgrade.
And that's where I'm trying to get.
And-
If you had
and-
hired
and it's
Sarkisian
it's
last
so-
year
it
out
is-
of Alabama, I say that's an upgrade because at least he has Power 5 experience.
That's true. That's true. I'll give you that. It's unfortunate to Billy Napier because here we are. Because this guy could end up winning the East next year.
Oh, yeah,
you know, we
absolutely.
don't. But it's just I would much rather see. I don't know. We know what those guys can do. We
Right.
know what those other guys that you just named can do against a Power 5
Exactly.
group. So
Another name would be Matt Campbell. If you hired Matt
Oh,
Campbell,
absolutely.
who's
Oh,
probably on the
absolutely.
market right now, that's an upgrade
yeah.
over Mullen. But I kind of felt like it was middle of the pack hire.
See, I'm kind of surprised that he's not been like. So far, we have filled Florida, LSU, and Florida, LSU, Notre Dame, USC have all four been filled.
Right.
And Matt Campbell is not in the mix of any of those. I'm
crazy.
just amazed by
Crazy
that.
to me. Crazy to me. I'm with you 100%. The next guy that just got hired, and it blew everybody's mind. And when it first happened, I thought, why in the world would you leave Notre Dame to go to LSU?
Oh, I get it. I totally
But
get
the
it.
more I think about it, it is a home run hire.
He's chasing a ring.
It's a home run hire for LSU, and it's a home run for him, especially on his contract he got. Good Lord. It's a home run for him because he is instantly upgrading his recruiting pool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to looking into it. Notre Dame is so hard to get into. Notre Dame academically is as hard to get into as Vandy and Duke.
See, I did not know that.
They
did
have
not know
very
that.
strict standards on their to get in, even for athletes, which typically are lowered for athletic reasons.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame still is extremely hard to get into, and he's competing nationally at Notre Dame and has for years. And now he's going to go to LSU, where he can pretty much recruit any kid that he wants and can get them enrolled.
Right.
That's the big thing, is getting
That
the
is
kid
huge.
enrolled. Their
Yeah.
ACT scores can be lower. You don't have to recruit a kid that has a 22 or a 23 ACT. You recruit a kid that has a 17. Or even maybe even lower, like a 15. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be
Oh,
mean
yeah.
to athletes, but
Yeah.
athletes typically have a lower ACT.
Man.
Typically.
I'd say the true level standards are a little higher than a 15. But anyway,
For LSU,
yeah, I hope. But anyway, I'm with you. At first, I kind of thought, man, he's leaving Notre Dame because Notre Dame to me seems kind of like a lot of people's dream job,
oh yeah,
and for good reasons. But at the
it's a
same
national
time,
brand.
yeah, it's one of
You're
the
not
most
taking-
nationally known brands.
You're not taking even like an Illinois or an Indiana, which is everybody knows. Oh, that's the University of Indiana football, but it's not a national brand like Notre Dame is.
No, Notre Dame is it's very well known. Even people that don't follow college football, they know who Notre Dame is.
Mhm.
It's like the Michael Jordan effect. People that have never seen a basketball, don't know how to dribble a basketball.
Right.
If they hear the name Michael Jordan, they know who that is. Notre Dame is along those same lines. Everybody knows who Notre Dame.
100% agree.
But I think with this though, LSU, like you said, the recruiting pool it shoots through the roof. because the SEC consistently, from top to bottom, gets the best recruits in the country.
And here's why I say that LSU, he's in a good position at LSU. Is right now, Texas is not very good. Now I'm talking about the area that LSU is in.
Yeah.
Texas, the University of Texas, not very good. Oklahoma, lost a head coach.
Yeah.
Florida hired Billy Napier. FSU, Miami, not very good. Alabama is good. It's what it is. Mississippi State, not very good. Ole Miss, decent. Pretty good. I would say pretty good. Above average.
Yeah.
As far as the recruiting goes. Lane Kiffin's a great coach, and they've done well this year.
Right.
So when you talk about the area that LSU is in, he is in a perfect spot for recruiting.
Yeah.
He's got the name, and now he's recruiting against programs outside of 2, out of what I mentioned, 6, 7?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that range. He automatically becomes, even at worst, the third best coach in that area. Immediately becomes the third best coach.
Yeah, at the worst, but I don't know who I think he's above Lane Kiffin.
Well, I mean,
and
that's an argument I would listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not better than Saban. It is.
Oh,
what it
no,
is.
he's definitely number 2 behind Saban.
Number 2 behind Saban. But you talk about Power 5 conference teams.
Now, if Bob Stoops ends up if Bob Stoops steps back into the reins, he's automatically number 3. Bob Stoops.
Number 3, yes, but I would still put Brian Kelly above him.
Who, Stoops?
Above Stoops, yes.
Oh, gosh, no. Heck no.
You don't think so?
Do I think Brian Kelly should be number 2 as far as
just stepping in and recruiting? Like if he was to go into a house of a recruit, a 5-star, 4-star recruit, and
say,
then the next day
I
Stoops
want you to
comes
play
in.
for me.
Yes, and then Stoops comes in for Oklahoma.
If I'm a high school senior right now and Brian Kelly and Bob Stoops both come in and say, I want you to play for me, I'm playing for Bob Stoops.
I'm playing for Brian Kelly.
No, you are not.
Because it's a thing of what have you done for me recently. Brian Kelly has coached recently. Bob Stoops has been out of it for 5 years.
Bob Stoops has been an analyst recently.
Right, exactly. He's not been a coach.
Yeah, but
Brian Kelly has been nationally relevant.
Resume though, which one has actually been? Which one's actually won a national championship?
I'm not arguing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not arguing that point, but I'm just saying, as a 17, 18-year-old kid, who have you seen coaching?
I get
since
that.
The whole time you've been in high school. Brian Kelly. So, and
there is a thing called YouTube, though, guys. YouTube kids get on YouTube.
And here's the thing too about
Look
that.
at Bob Stoops.
That's going to boost my argument. It's SEC versus the Big 10 or Big 12.
Big 12. I agree with that.
The SEC appeal is a little bit, it's better.
Yeah.
So that's just my argument for him. But anyways, even if whoever Oklahoma hires, whether it's for me, Bob Stoops, Matt Campbell, Cliff Kingsbury from the NFL coming back to Oklahoma,
no way.
I don't think there's any. I don't know. I don't think there's any chance. I'm just saying that he has been mentioned for the job.
Right.
If they hire any of those guys, Brian Kelly still ranks in that area that I just mentioned. He's still number 2 behind Saban as far as recruiting goes.
Yeah. I always think it's like you saw, and we're getting off the rails by saying this, but I'm just hitting on that. It's so disrespectful for the media to come out and throw, especially a successful head coach in the NFL,
right,
to throw their name in as a college head coach, because it's like taking a college head coach and saying, "Oh, well, I think he'd be a great fit for this high school." Why would a college head coach step down to coach a high school? That's stupid.
I'm not.
And that's the same thing. These guys are coaching at the highest level of football,
and Kingsbury's having success.
Yeah,
he's going to make the playoffs.
They're what, 1 or 2 loss team? I don't even think
I think they've lost 2 games.
Have they? Yeah.
I think so.
They were on an undefeated run 8 weeks in.
Yeah, there was 8-0. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but anyways,
he's going to make the playoffs. I just don't
sense.
see, because that'll run into January, and I just don't see him.
It would be crazy.
I just don't see it.
It would be crazy.
I don't see it unless there's been some leaked information that we don't know about. Anyways, so I'm going to move on unless you got anything else on Brian Kelly. Okay. So I'm going to move on, and the last one has Brian Kelly left his defensive coordinator, which a lot of people have pegged for different jobs, and even had linked to USC with Lincoln Riley that he might go there. If some Brian Kelly leaves, and then Notre Dame's job's open, he stepped right into it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought, maybe he goes with Kelly, but I think that Freeman felt betrayed because I don't think he knew.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
I don't think Marcus Freeman knew that Kelly was leaving.
Which is really shocking to me, because if you're Brian Kelly, because Brent Venables is great. He is phenomenal.
He's one of the top
But-
recruiters and coordinators in the nation. I'll give him that.
Who?
Venables.
Yeah, but yes, you're right. But Marcus Freeman, as far as a coordinator, is the new name in college football, and he is good. He's really
very
good.
good. That's what I'm
And-
saying. Venables is great, but he's not he's a tier not tier down, but 1-2, kind of like we talked with Kelly and
Yeah,
Saban.
and so if I'm Brian Kelly, you got to keep that guy. You got to keep him in talks, in your inner circle, because imagine if he went to LSU and took that guy with him with the type of defensive recruits that he'll get at LSU.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, now if he got Freeman, I would agree with your argument of LSU is contending
For the
SEC West
Yes.
next year. I would agree
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
But they don't have him. So
No,
that's
if
a
he'd
different
have
story.
got him, but anyways, Marcus Freeman though I think will be great as a head coach. He ended up they kept Tommy Reese on staff as offensive coordinator,
I see
which
that.
I think is big.
Mhm.
And I think Tommy Reese was on the same lines of being disrespected too, because Tommy Reese was Brian Kelly's quarterback,
Right.
and he didn't go.
And he kind of groomed him up to be the OC.
Yeah, I think he had no idea. I don't think anybody on staff had any
I
idea.
don't think so either.
Um,
But how do you not go and say at least a Freeman and
Tommy Reese was your guy. Tommy Reese
Right.
played for you.
You bringing them in, just those two guys. If this happened within the last week,
Yeah.
hey, look, LSU's offering X, Y, and Z to me. If I take the job, what's the chances you come with me?
Yeah.
I want you with me at LSU. Let's win a national title together.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where you lead them down. And if they say no, our heart's at Notre Dame. Okay, guys, this is going to affect my decision. I don't know where I'm doing yet.
Right.
At least they feel in the
Important.
loop. They feel in the loop.
Yeah.
It's one thing. Let's take this podcast for example. Say that it comes on a Thursday evening that we're supposed to record, and I do it without you. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
we're good today, man.
Yeah.
And then it comes out next time, and you're like, hey, podcast released.
Yeah.
What happened, Keith?
Yeah.
I just felt like I did it on my own. That's the
that's a good.
that's the analogy I can use.
Right.
I'm going here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
That's where I would equate that to. But anyways, I think Freeman was a great hire for Notre Dame.
Yeah, it was a huge hire.
I still think that they could stay ranked within the next couple of years. I just don't know if Notre Dame.
Well, I think their schedule allows them to do that.
Right.
Because they play a tough enough. Well, they play a schedule just tough enough to,
Impress the committee.
but not so tough that they're going to take any losses, really.
Right.
Or if they do, they might not take more than one.
They
or
take
two.
one to Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back and look at their schedule, they're not playing the cream of the crop from each. They pick and choose teams from each conference. They're about middle of the road per conference.
Right.
And
and some of those are rivalry games that they've played for years,
Some
and it
are,
just so happens
yeah.
those teams have stayed decent.
Yeah.
Here's my thing with Freeman, and it actually goes into the Kelly argument too. Is the recruiting in where Notre Dame's at, which is Chicago, right? Notre Dame?
No, it's in Indiana.
It's in Indiana. Sorry.
Yeah.
That was the
South Bend.
game. That was the game that it was a neutral site game.
Yeah.
That's what I was
played
thinking
Chicago,
about.
yeah.
We talked about earlier this year. Anyways, even Indiana, you're recruiting against Harbaugh, recruiting against now Ryan Day, who's still Ohio State, and then the guys that came in, James Franklin, and I can't think of the Illinois coach that they hired this year. His name just left me. Bielema. You're recruiting against those guys within the area. LSU, and we talked about the difference there, and I think that's why Kelly left. So I want to see how Freeman can still recruit the Notre Dame athletes.
Yeah.
That's my question, or my statement on that. But anyways, I digress. Do you have anything else on Freeman?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. A couple of the games that happened last week, and one that we both got extremely wrong was Michigan Ohio State. I did not see
Well,
the pounding
I think I saw two
of the
picks
rock
from Michigan.
that Michigan laid on Ohio State. They just ran the ball
yeah.
all over them.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off though.
No, I was just saying I'm kind of lost for words, really, kind of like I was when I was watching the game.
And it was one of those
I
games
remember
that you couldn't
thinking-
turn off
No,
because it wasn't like Michigan just ran away with it, but they just continually just boom, 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 and kept them at bay, kept them at
Right.
arm's length the whole time.
well, it was kind of like, it felt like, it was historic, obviously. But I don't know, it just felt like a monumental,
Did you feel like it was a thing of finally Harbaugh did it? Finally,
Yeah.
he got over the hump.
I felt like he
Like,
was
almost
like that.
like a weight
did you
was-
watch him in the post game interview?
Mhm.
It was like he was just so relieved.
Right.
It's like he was just like
It wasn't-
breathing a sigh of relief.
It wasn't a thing of like obviously he's excited and he's happy, but
It-
it was, but literally I know what you're
the
saying.
monkey's off his back.
It's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's over. It's finally over. I finally beat him. I'm going to be as long as I can beat Iowa in the Big 12 or Big 10 championship. I'm in the national playoffs.
Yeah.
The people that are hating on me are finally going to can back off. I actually have some ground to stand on.
Yeah.
I'm finally here. It's like I finally, Michigan's been there for a long time, but I'm finally here.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. That, like you're saying, how he was in the post game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and here's another crazy stat. I think the Big Ten championship game started in 2011, 2010. This is the first ever Michigan Big Ten championship game ever. First appearance ever in the Big Ten championship
It
game.
seems to me like the first Big Ten championship was later, closer to now than that. 'Cause it seems like because the BC or the college football playoff started in what 13. Or 14?
14 was the first season of the college football
It
playoff.
seems like the first year of the college football playoffs they did not have that, and then next year they did.
See, I was thinking,
But I could be wrong.
for some reason, I was thinking,
Or
that-
maybe I'm thinking about the BCS and Ohio State needing a
Well-
certain, an extra game to get into the title game, and they
Maybe.
didn't play it. Something like that.
the
Because
reason
argument
why,
was that they didn't get in, they didn't have a title.
and I could be making up a game in my head, but I feel like I remember watching Russell Wilson play for Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship,
Possibly.
and I think Russell Wilson's last year was like 10 or 11.
You're probably right. So I'm thinking probably earlier than that, for a Big Ten, Big Ten team that didn't get in because of a
Yeah.
conference championship.
But let's just
You know what I'm
say,
saying?
let's just say it was 11, okay? Just because we're in 2021, that's perfect 10-year window.
Right.
10 years. 10 years this game has been in existence, possibly. Could be less, could be more.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan, as big of a brand as Michigan is,
Right.
Michigan has never been there.
Let me ask this: How Harbaugh's been there since 2008? No.
No, you always want to add years to Harbaugh at Stanford.
Who am I thinking? Oh, I'm thinking about Dabo. Dabo has been
Yeah.
at Clemson since 2008.
Yeah,
He's been there since what?
15, I think. I think 15 was his first year. I'm pretty sure.
I'll let you look that up. I think he's been there. I thought he'd been there longer than that.
Well, he was in the Super Bowl in 2012 with
Right.
the Niners. Everybody
With the
wants
Niners.
to forget that.
The Harbaugh Bowl.
Harbaugh Bowl, yeah.
It may have been 14. Oh gosh, you're probably right. I thought he'd been there much longer than that.
2015 was his first season
Okay.
at Michigan.
So he lasted one more year in the pros and then came into college.
Yeah,
14, he'd been still in San Francisco and then came in 2015.
yeah. I think that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. It's somewhere along those lines. So it's taken him 6 years? 6 years to get to the
To the conference championship.
Wow.
Yeah,
And Michigan has not been there since, or ever.
there's never been a conference championship until recently.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The past
so, yeah,
10
they've
years,
never
they've
been
never
there.
been there. Right.
Actually, now I'm invested in this. I want to know when the last time Michigan football won a Big Ten title. We're gonna look this up right now while we're
I'm going
here.
to go out on a limb and say 1998.
1998. That's a good guess. I was gonna say more recent, like 2004ish. No, because Ohio State was in the title that year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
I mean,
2000. I'm gonna say it's 2001.
Well, I think Claret and them got to the national title game in 02.
Yeah.
02 or
All right, let's see. I got a list of Big Ten
I can't
titles
remember
here.
now.
So let's just see here.
It's been many moons ago.
It's been a long time ago. I don't remember Michigan State winning it. Wait a second. Here we go. This actually has the birth of the Big Ten title game. I believe which was. Well, no, I don't have that. I thought I had that information. I'm going to keep looking, though. I'm going to find that information. I'm just going to look for Michigan here.
Okay.
Boy, what a run Ohio State had. Oh, wait, hey. Oh, I was right. 2004. 2004. My original guess was correct. 2004, Iowa and Michigan each shared
They shared
the conference title. 2003, Michigan won it.
Okay.
2002,
Lloyd Carr
Ohio
era,
State.
right?
Huh?
Lloyd Carr era.
Yeah.
Okay.
2002 was the year you're thinking of with Claret.
Right.
And Ohio State and Iowa shared it that year too. And I didn't realize this, but you want to tell me who that head coach was at Iowa that year?
Oh man, I have no idea.
You probably won't. I would have never guessed it so you probably won't guess it
No,
because you won't believe it.
I have no idea.
Kirk Ferentz. He was still
Wow.
there at that time.
Wow.
And
crazy.
So he has shared in 2002 and 2003.
Wow.
Anyways, so this will be their first title since 2004.
Well, they have to win it, and we're gonna talk about that game.
They have to win it, yeah. But what's interesting to me though is
I've got an idea.
I was in that game, so 2004 they shared the title, and now they're both
crazy.
playing for the title.
That's been 16, 17 years ago.
Yes, 17.
Wow. And the other game I want to talk about, and I'm not going to talk very long about, was the Alabama-Auburn game. And I really thought Auburn had it won.
They should have won the game.
They're on their backup quarterback, who's literally on his last leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
literally
limping around the field, and everybody wants to point to the play where the guy should have stayed in bounds. He's trying to get the first down. If you watch the play from the end zone behind the offense, the guy's going towards the sideline, and he actually cuts in. He's trying to get back in bounds, and the Alabama guy grabs him around the waist and falls with him and pulls him out of bounds.
Yeah.
So I really don't blame the guy on the third down play.
Right.
And nobody talks about this. The second down. The third down play call was so vanilla. Everybody knew it was coming. In that situation, if you're Auburn, why do you not either pitch it to the outside, try to get to the edge, or better yet, roll the dice, play action pass, and try to get somebody open behind the defense? Because
if
you're giving them time.
Well, if you go into the mindset that that's 4 down territory, then
Right.
I'm okay with the play call. But not when
Are you talking about the dive that they actually ran? Or are you talking about my play call?
your play call.
Okay.
If I'm saying if I'm not. I mean, I'm okay with the play call. I'm saying if that was the mindset going in,
Right.
then okay. But I don't know. I feel like though they've been vanilla all season in some of their play calling.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's what Bogdan beat against Georgia State was their vanilla play calling. But my takeaway from that game though was how bad do they win if Bo Nix is playing? How big of a lead?
I don't know if they. I don't know. I mean, they win, I think, but I don't think it's a blowout.
I'm not gonna say they blow them out, but I think they win by
No, I think they win by
couple
like
scores.
7, possibly 10. I think it's set. I think it's
That's
set.
why I was thinking like 10 to 14. Is what I
Okay,
was
so
thinking.
we're close. You're right. I think if Bo Nix does play, they win.
Which
But
tells
here's-
me all I need to know for this Saturday.
Well, and the thing
Look
about-
out,
The
Tuscaloosa.
thing about that, and we're going to talk about this game in a minute, is Robinson. That's the running back's name, right? Number 4, I believe.
Yeah, I think
Robinson.
So. Yeah,
He got hurt.
yeah.
He's not playing against Georgia.
And this defense is nasty.
And you know how many scholarship athletes or scholarship running backs Alabama has that are healthy going into the Georgia game? I'll give you a shot in the dark. How many healthy running backs that are on scholarship are going to play against Georgia?
Saban likes to keep a thick backfield.
You're going to. I guarantee you're not going to get this.
Well, the way you're leading me on, it makes me think it's going to be 0.
No, it's
but-
not 0. I'll give you that. It's not 0.
Okay, I'm going to say scholarship running backs.
Yes.
On scholarship.
On
Full
scholarship, healthy running backs going into this weekend's title game.
2.
1.
Oh, gosh.
He has 1 healthy scholarship running back going against Georgia. Just saying. Dear goodness. Anyways, so we're going to move into the games this weekend, and then we'll have our picks out on Facebook and on Twitter and TikTok. Guys, if you can, just go give us a like, give us a share, comments. It really goes a lot to helping the show and kind of getting our name out there, and it's free. You don't have to pay for anything.
It don't cost anything.
It don't cost anything. Just help us out. We're just a couple college football fans that love talking about college football, and the more love that we see on our social media makes us really want to get back into the studio and do more for-yins. Our TikTok really blew up last week with our picks. I was really amazed by.
We actually have. I talked to Jay.
Right.
He wants to be on the board this week. So.
Okay. Yeah, we're bringing on Coach Jay Clay. So here are some of the title games for the conference championship games for this weekend. We're going to talk about each one just a little bit, and then we're going to make our picks and put those out on our socials. You got Oregon, Utah for the Pac-12.
I'm excited for that game.
I am very excited. Baylor, OK State.
That's another rematch. I'm excited for it too.
It's a big rematch. I think it's
Oklahoma State's only lost this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's right there.
There's a couple others. You got the App State, Louisiana, which I think is another rematch from earlier this year. Georgia, Alabama, which we just spoke about, and we're going to talk about it a little more. Cincinnati, Houston, Michigan, Iowa, and then you got Pitt and Wake Forest. And some of these games have major college football playoff implications.
I think they all do.
Not Pitt, Wake Forest.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Not App State, Louisiana, but the rest do.
No.
But the rest do.
If Louisiana doesn't win this game, they're not in.
Louisiana?
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I say they're ranked, but that's giving them a lot of credit. Anyways, so first we're going to talk about is Oregon, Utah, which is a rematch. Utah just that's another game that's not going to matter for the college football playoffs.
Should have.
But they put a spanking on Oregon earlier this year.
Yeah, they did.
Take a shot in the dark on the line.
Now, correct me here. Unless they've changed, the Pac-12 championship is the top seed gets to host, right? They've not moved to a neutral site stadium yet, have they? Or have they? They have? Okay.
They have.
Okay. So it's not.
I'll be really excited to see this just because I love the stadium.
It's not in Salt Lake City. It's not in Utah, right?
I love this. I love the stadium. I'm just gonna say this is one of my bucket list stadiums. I want to
This
visit.
is one of your bucket list stadiums.
Remember, it's Pac-12.
I know. I'm trying to think.
There's two that I want to go see. Out in this.
They're not playing in the Rose Bowl, are they?
Nope.
Okay.
Rose Bowl is a one.
That's
one
my bucket list.
That's on my bucket list.
Your bucket list Pac-12 stadium.
Well, no. This stadium is not a college stadium. It's a pro stadium.
Oh, okay.
I just said the stadium is a bucket list. I didn't say what level it was at.
Are they playing? Wait, is it a newly built bucket list stadium? Okay, it's the new Rams stadium.
No, but SoFi. I do want to go visit SoFi. It's the dark hole. It's the dark hole. What's it called? Death Star. It's Allegiant Stadium in Vegas.
They're playing in Vegas.
They're playing in Vegas.
Oh, that's crazy. That was actually going to be that was my first one I thought of, but I thought they wouldn't be playing in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it'd be the Rams. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts. Well, anyways, so my take on the game is I don't think that Oregon is a team that you can beat twice in the same season.
I'm 100% with you. I think the line resembles that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the line. I think Utah's still a favorite just because they deserve that respect.
They are.
I'm gonna say Utah by 3.5.
Close. 2.5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Over under on 58. I'm taking Oregon to cover.
I'm taking Oregon to cover because I think
that they're going to come out. I don't think you can
beat them twice.
I don't think so either. I don't think you can beat them twice. Oregon's just too good of a team.
I think so too. And that's my argument.
And it's a revenge game.
Right. And that's my same argument.
From 2 weeks ago?
yeah, really. But that's my same argument too about Oklahoma State. I think
that's a good segue. Let's go ahead and talk about it.
I don't think that you can beat them twice. And I think Baylor's a great team. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a close game.
Another bucket list stadium that I visited.
You can beat them twice. Oh, they're in the Cowboy Stadium.
AT&T Stadium in Arlington.
Yeah.
The line is OK State 5.5.
Oh, you're supposed to let me guess it. But okay.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I was gonna get 7, but anyway.
Close. Over under at 46.5. I'm gonna take the over on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna take it. I think.
That would be. Let's see. So 47. That'd be like. 27-20 covers that. So yeah, I take that. Take that.
Oklahoma State with the new college football playoff rankings are rated at 5. Baylor's at 9.
I think that's a good spot, but here's
this
my
game. If they win, Oklahoma State
they're in.
puts them in my opinion, because Alabama with 2 losses and no conference title
Right.
should not get in
No,
over
they're not. The only way Alabama's in is if they beat Georgia Saturday.
right,
Which I feel like
agree.
there's no shot. I mean, obviously there's a shot just because you're Alabama, you got Nick Saban in your corner. There, you always have a
Right.
shot.
right.
But I mean, let's be real. They shouldn't beat Georgia. Georgia should take care of business.
Georgia should.
But the only team that doesn't lose everything by taking a loss on Saturday is Georgia. Georgia could lose by 30 on Saturday, and they're still in.
I mean, they could lose by 30, but they're still in. But
They're in. They're in. No doubt about it. They have given us everything that they need to show
I
us.
agree 100%.
They could start every walk-on on the team and say, you guys are rested for playoffs, and they're in. And now, granted, I think Kirby Smart wants that SEC championship. Like the rest of the team does.
Absolutely. Oh, the whole team does.
But I think that they're in. What's gonna throw a wrench into the system, and I've told you this. We've talked about this before, and I would not be at all shocked by it. But is if everybody wins Saturday, and when I say everybody, let me rephrase that. If Alabama wins Saturday,
Right.
if Oklahoma State wins Saturday, and if Cincinnati wins Saturday, then now you have a dilemma.
Mhm.
Who's more valuable?
Right.
A one-loss Oklahoma State Big 12 champion team,
Right.
or an undefeated American champion Cincinnati? Who's more valuable? And that's a big. I mean, I don't want to be on that committee if it happens. Now, granted, the dream scenario is Georgia takes care of business, and then the rest of them take care of business, and your 4 are Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma State, Cincy.
Right. Right.
Easy.
And I think that's what you're going to see.
I think so too, but
But anyways, going on into the Georgia-Alabama game, I'm actually kind of surprised at the line in this one, just to be honest.
Georgia, Alabama.
Mhm.
I'm gonna guess Georgia
Mhm.
by 6.5.
Right on the money.
Really?
Right on the money. 6.5.
I feel like I'm getting pretty good with these Vegas odds. Just like, and
If your betting could accurately resemble that.
I think that they do that just to try to get. I mean, because who are you going to take? In that instance, you're going to take Alabama to cover that.
I think so.
Just because
Right.
But
If he was betting $5, I'd bet Alabama. to
Yeah.
cover. If I was betting 50 or 100, I'd bet Georgia.
yeah,
To cover. I think Georgia does cover.
I think so too. But I don't know. I think that they do that sometimes because, I mean, if they had given, because in my opinion, Georgia probably wins by 10.
17. I was
Or
thinking
more.
17.
Yeah, okay. But if you give 17 Alabama, ain't nobody taking Georgia.
Right.
Everybody's going to take Alabama,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Oh,
So
I
they got to
agree.
keep it to where they got some numbers on both sides.
Right. And it evens out throughout the week.
Yeah.
And that line might change some. It might bump up to 7.5, maybe 8. Or 8.5, I mean. So we'll see. Cincinnati, Houston. Houston's actually ranked 21. Cincinnati 4. Cincinnati has everything to lose, and Houston has everything to gain.
Everything to lose, yeah.
Houston has everything to gain by saying
This is a big-time trap game for Cincinnati.
big
Big-time trap game.
Yeah.
Because Houston's good enough to beat them.
Cincinnati's hosting, though. It's in Cincinnati.
Oh, so this isn't a neutral site.
Mm-mm.
Oh, wow.
No.
See, that's crazy.
Line.
I'm gonna
Take a
say Cincinnati by 4.5.
Cincinnati by 10.5.
What?
Cincinnati by 10.5.
Wow! I think that's crazy.
Over under a 53.
See that one? I'm taking that bet. I am gonna.
You'd
on
bet
that
Houston?
Saturday.
You'd bet Houston or
10.5? Yes, I bet Houston. Heck yeah, I would. And I'm not knocking Cincinnati, but every game they've had this season's been close.
right?
I don't know if they've blown anybody out. Really, I mean they.
What was the?
Well, they have had some blowouts, but
what was the Notre Dame score?
I don't know. I have to look at.
I got it. I'll pull it up real quick. Notre Dame, they played week 4, 24-13
Phone sound. What was it? 24-13.
over Notre Dame.
Okay, so 11 points.
Miami, Ohio, they 49-14.
Yeah, Miami.
Is it Murray or Murray State?
Murray State.
42-7.
Okay.
Indiana 38-24. Temple 52-3. UCF 56-21, Navy 27-20, Tulane 31-12, Tulsa 28-20, US University of South Florida USF 45-28, SMU 48-14, ECU 35-13. So they're not. I mean, there are blowing teams out.
There are. I mean, yeah, I guess you call that a blowout.
It's not close.
No. Well, I mean, what gets me though is Navy was close, Tulsa was close.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like 8-point ball games.
Right.
And yes, Navy's a good football team.
Right.
But they're not. They're nowhere near a playoff team.
Okay, and I've got a scenario. Let's say that Alabama loses to Georgia. Michigan wins, they stay at 2. Oklahoma State wins at 5, and they jump into the playoffs.
Yep.
Would you rate Oklahoma State to 3, even if Cincinnati
Yes.
wins convincingly?
Yes, I would.
I know why. Because
I
you
would.
want to see
Well,
Georgia Cincinnati rematch.
Well, yeah, I have a couple reasons, but I also believe that I believe if the season ended today, if it ended right now,
Mhm.
Oklahoma State's resume is better than Cincinnati's.
I agree, 100%, even with a loss.
Exactly. So if
I'm
they
not
both
disagreeing.
win on Saturday, then
Strength of schedule should be number 2 on their list.
yes, it should.
It should be.
It should be. And so if they both win on Saturday, then Oklahoma State has corrected, and this happened, actually. This happened a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma had lost to Texas
Mm-hmm.
in the regular season,
Mm-hmm.
and then went to the conference championship and corrected that loss by beating Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up jumping into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And it might have actually been the same season. I feel like it was the same season that they had Baker Mayfield
I think
and
it was.
Georgia.
Because they had a couple really good wins, including Ohio State that year.
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe that was
I
the same
think you're
season.
right. I
But
think so.
anyways, my point though is if they go in and they win Saturday, then they beat the same team they lost to,
Mhm.
so they correct the loss,
Mhm.
and their resume is better than an undefeated Cincinnati because the only
I'm not disagreeing.
the only good win that Cincinnati has is Notre Dame,
Mhm.
and
I'd say
Notre-
Indiana was a decent win. It's a Power 5 school.
it's a Power 5 win. But
Right.
Indiana has not been anything like what we thought they should have been this season.
I'm not disagreeing with any of your points.
I-
I'm just saying that it's a Power 5 win that they can
It
hang in
is.
their belt.
Yeah, it's a Power 5 win, but Vandy would have been a Power 5 win.
Yeah.
Is that impressive? You know?
I'm not
I
disagreeing.
mean, if that's,
I'm not disagreeing.
because if that's the case, then ETSU needs a shot in this playoff.
Oh,
Because, which, by the
goodness.
way, we should have hit it this week, but FCS playoffs are starting, and ETSU is in the FCS playoffs, which I can't wait to talk about. In the coming weeks.
in the next coming weeks, yeah,
Um,
I agree.
But yeah, if that's the case, then ETSU needs to be in this conversation. They got a Power 5 win.
So we got to wrap this up. We're coming in on the hour mark.
Yeah.
Real quick, just Pitt Wake Forest. What do you think the line is?
I'm gonna say Pitt by 7.5.
Pitt by 3.
Oh wow.
Over under of 71.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I know.
that Wake Forest offense can score,
I know.
but I feel like Wake Forest defense
But
is
with the
not
over under
good.
that high, you almost want to bet the under, just because the over under is so high.
I mean, Pitt's defense is good.
It's
It's
decent. Yeah.
I mean, but Wake Forest defense is awful. So
They said the
you
same
could
thing
end up
about
seeing-
Tennessee Ole Miss this year when the line was like 82, and I think they scored a combined 20 or 40 something points. You know what I'm saying? With an over under that high at 71, even if both teams score, it's a 35-30 ball game or 35-28, whatever,
Yeah.
which is a lot of points. You're still hitting the under.
Yeah.
That's my argument on that. Anyways, last game I want to talk about, and there's one thing I really want to mention in this one, but it's Michigan-Iowa. It's a neutral site game.
Yeah. Don't they play in the Colts Stadium?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Which, I mean,
What is with these teams, these conferences playing in NFL stadiums?
it's a neutral
I think they all
site and a
do
way
that.
for the owners of the, or not the owners, but the cities that are in the
Yeah.
areas.
Okay,
to-
yeah.
I mean, it's just a
To
money
convince,
thing.
yeah.
It's a TV deal. Michigan, Iowa. Michigan has everything to lose in this game.
Yes.
Everything. I mean, it's the same thing with Cincinnati. Michigan has everything to lose in this game. I'm going to give you the guess on the line.
Okay.
I'll tell you the over-under, which I think the over-under is about right.
I'm gonna say Michigan 4.5.
Michigan by 11.
What?
Michigan up by 11. Over under is at
I
43
think
and a
that's
half.
a little disrespectful.
It's disrespectful to Iowa for this reason.
Look at where they were.
No. Yeah, I mean,
Like-
I agree with that. But Michigan's only loss was to Michigan State. What does Michigan State do really well with the ball?
Run the ball.
Run the ball extremely well.
Yeah.
What does Iowa do with the ball?
Run the ball.
Run the ball really
And
well. That's the
another thing with-
recipe for Michigan.
Here's the thing with Iowa is they do a great job of playing 3 yards of cloud dust football and managing the time of possession.
Exactly. I think that's why your over under is so low.
Yes, they like to maintain the football.
Exactly.
And just keep away.
And that's what Michigan State did, but Michigan State gapped Michigan for yards and yards.
And Michigan State's defense is awful. Iowa's defense is much better.
is
than
much
Michigan State.
better. It's a much
So
better
that's
team.
that's a smack in the face to Kirk Ferentz and Iowa.
I take Iowa to cover. I think Michigan wins the ball game
I'm
just
torn
because they know they can see the end,
yeah,
and they're probably going to draw OK State in the playoffs.
right. I
Just
would
to be
love to
honest.
see Iowa win this game just because I love Kirk Ferentz.
Right.
And I don't know. I kind of like Iowa. I don't know. Kind of pull for them. But at the same time, I would love to see the scenario we talked about: Georgia, Michigan, and Oklahoma State all winning. Just because we would see this would be the first ever completely different playoff that no team has been in.
Here's my thing about this.
Okay,
It's
Georgia.
why I want Michigan to win. That's why I want Cincinnati to win. I want OK State to win. I don't want to see Alabama make the playoffs after losing to Georgia in the SEC title game with a loss.
Yeah,
It'll be their second
a
loss.
2-loss team.
Right.
Well, and
I just don't think that they deserve to be there.
Yeah. But I think the only reason they would be there though is I mean at that point you have
Right.
If Michigan loses, you have another 2-loss team. So if
Right.
you got a 2-loss Bama, a 2-loss Michigan, I
Bama
think
gets
2-loss Bama's got the better resume.
Right. Right.
Although that win against Ohio State was impressive, so I don't know. Maybe they would have an argument there.
Right, because their
But-
2 losses would have came to a 13th
Michigan
ranked
State
Iowa
and-
and Michigan State, who was
Yeah.
ranked at 4 at the time, I think.
Yeah, which actually would be more impressive than now. I mean, the Georgia loss obviously that's
Is what it is, but you had a tough game
But
with
you
Auburn and
a loss to
to
A&M,
A&M, who is I don't think
unranked.
ranked.
yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting. So if you like chaos, root for Iowa,
Yeah.
root for Houston, and root for Baylor.
Could you imagine if that actually played out? If Baylor, Iowa, let's imagine this: complete chaos, complete and total chaos.
Alabama beating Georgia.
Alabama, Baylor, Houston, Iowa. They all win on Saturday.
Right.
Oh my
Well,
goodness!
and here's the thing too, and I don't have
but
the
at that, Cincinnati still has a shot at getting in because they're
Um,
the only one-loss team.
right. Well, here's
No, Georgia.
Here's the thing too. Is at 6 you have Notre Dame with no head coach. Well, I mean they've got a head coach, but
Yeah.
it's Freeman, but their head coach just left, and Ohio State's sitting at 7 and Ole Miss at 8. And Baylor at 9 would now win over OK State.
I think
2
Ohio
wins
State
over
would make
OK
a
State.
big jump
If that happens,
Yeah.
Ohio State might make the playoffs in that scenario. But anyways, so that's it for me. Unless
I
Jesse
got.
has anything else, you're good.
I'm good.
All right. Well, guys, until next time, make sure you guys like us on all of our socials. Check us out. Leave us a comment. And I'll also be putting out on Twitter. If you want to ask us a question, you can submit that through the Anchor app, and we will answer that question next time we're here. But until next time, guys, appreciate it.